honestly, I don't think I'm going back anytime soon. We had so much favor with the moving process. We put everything on Facebook Marketplace, everything. Between June and December of that same year, you guys, my business made 6 figures, and that's way more than I make flying. I truly believed that was God's way of showing me that you don't have to worry, like it's gonna all work out. Everyone, beautiful people, 𝐂𝐫𝐈𝐀𝐋 here. If you are new to my channel, welcome back. Thanks for stopping by and hitting the play button. On this channel, I share lifestyle, side hustle, and business gems that can help you improve the quality of your life and business. If I'm looking a little wet, that's because I just got out of the pool. Don't know if you can actually see, but anyway, I wanted to jump on here really quickly to share with you guys why I absolutely love living in Southeast Asia, particularly Bali right now, even though we plan on moving to Bangkok, Thailand very soon. More details on that. But y'all, I wanted to share with you guys, first of all, why I left the United States. And honestly, I don't think I'm going back anytime soon. Secondly, I want to share with you guys why I absolutely love living on this side of the world. Okay, check. By the way, I love how super comfy I feel doing this video. It's like, it's crazy. Just everything usually changes and everything always seems much better whenever I'm not in the US. And another thing, please don't mind me holding my mic in my hand like this. This is not typically how I do my videos, but because of like this new setup, I'm in a new space and everything, and I don't have my mic holder and all of these things, you know, and I'm just like, it is what it is. This is how I'm shooting today's video, with my mic in hand. If I try to set my mic up, it's going to be like all the way over there, and I want to make sure that you guys are hearing me clearly. So also, you may see me looking down on my phone because I have some notes and I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about why I left America. Okay, I left the United States with my family for a variety of reasons. Number one is I got confirmation that it's time to leave. Number one, I submit to God. I submit to God. I submit to the Holy Spirit, and just in my spirit, it was just this urgency, right? Like, you have to leave. Like, initially we were planning on leaving by March of 2025. And then it's just like, it was just this urgency. Like, no, you can't wait until March of 2025 to leave the US. And so I was like, okay, Lord, maybe October-ish. Like, you know, I just felt like I needed to leave also before November 2024. And I'm like, okay, maybe October-ish. Felt like Holy Spirit was like, no, you may want to leave earlier. But with all the circumstances or life circumstances and everything, I'm like, how are we going to possibly make that happen? Like summer of 2024. Like, I was still technically in the United States Air Force or as a reservist. We just had a lot, you know, going on. We had to figure out selling our vehicles, ending the lease that we currently had. And a quick backstory on that too. So I bought my first home when I was 23 in New Jersey. And long story short, eventually my husband and I, after we got married and everything, we turned that property into fully an Airbnb rental. We moved from New Jersey to Texas. We weren't ready to buy. We were looking, but we just weren't ready to buy. We were kind of like preparing to buy. So we're in Texas, Dallas area for about 3 years. Gosh, the sun went down. And then we were pretty much like leasing in Texas before we decided to leave the US. So that's a quick backstory on that. And so we had to figure out ending our lease early. And that's another thing, you guys. So we did the math on, okay, how much would it cost to end our lease to leave the US? And it actually made sense. It actually made sense. You know, usually when you're ending your lease early, you have to pay like an additional fee, but I'm like, it's worth paying that fee to move abroad to where we'll be able to live significantly less anyway. So we did the math on that, all the logistics, and it made sense. And I was like, okay, thank you, Lord. So that made sense. Y'all, we had so much favor with the moving process. We put everything on Facebook Marketplace, everything. Do not sleep on Facebook Marketplace. Let me tell you, do not sleep on Facebook Marketplace, okay? We sold anything you can think of in our household, from plants, decor, diffuser, carpet, picture frames, of course, like our furniture, TV, couch, like everything. We sold everything. My juicer, I was so sad about that because I absolutely love juicing, but we sold everything. So we put everything on Marketplace and just sold it. So that worked out well. We were able to sell our vehicles. My vehicle was paid off, and my husband's vehicle still had a little bit of payment on that, but we were still able to sell that, and he still got cash back for it. Not a lot, but we still got cash back for it, even though he was still making payments on it. So like I tell you, like everything worked out in our favor. Okay. It was only God. I'm like, everything just aligned, like our finances over the summer. It worked out that we had additional income over the summer as well. And I truly believed that that was God's way of showing me that you don't have to worry. Like, it's going to all work out. So that's a little bit of backstory on that, on how we were able to expedite our move. Like, we literally thought about moving abroad just this year, 2024, about March. The idea came about to actually making it a thing really soon, within the next year. And by April, we're like, okay, yes. And by April, May or so, we're like, okay, let's try to make this happen this year. And by May, we were like, okay, we can possibly make it happen over the summer. And so with the Air Force Reserve thing, won't touch on that too much, but to make a long story short, I basically exercised my right to resign or separate early due to the birth of my son. So there is a thing with when you serve in the military. Let me sit up a little bit straighter. There is a thing where when you serve in the military, particularly the United States Air Force, I can't speak so much on other branches of the military, but I know with the Air Force, once you become pregnant, up until a year after you've given birth, so up until your child becomes 1 year old, you can opt to separate early, initiate the process, send in your request to separate from the military early. Okay, so you have from pregnancy up to a year. So my son, if you guys have been following me, you know he's right now he's 10 months. So about a couple of months ago, I put in that request to separate early. And that's all I'm going to say on that. My husband, he works remotely now. Okay, he does therapy work, mental health therapy work, and he works remotely. And as you guys know, I'm currently a full-time entrepreneur. And back in 2022, September, around this time, which is crazy, exactly 2 years ago, I resigned. I quit my my dream job as a flight attendant. And I got confirmation that it was time for me to do that too. And you know, sometimes in life, you guys, you may have your dream job, or you may have this dream opportunity, and it looks glamorous and it looks, shiny and all of that. But there are still seasons in life, right? There's a season to thrive in your career, and there may be a season for you where it's just time to put it down, or it's time to move on to something else, and that's okay. A lot of times we get so caught up in our identity, in our career becomes our identity, and that's what was happening to me. I felt like that was who I was. That was my lifestyle. Because like being a flight attendant, it's so different from a regular 9 to 5. It's not your typical 9 to 5. It's a lifestyle. You're living out of your suitcase a lot of times. Okay. You're on 3-day work trips, staying in hotels. You're working with the same people for 3 days or so. It's completely different. I won't even really get into it, but it's completely different from your regular 9 to 5 job that you drive to, you go into. you clock in, and then by the end of the day, you clock out. It's a little bit different. And so that became my identity. And I felt like it, even though it was draining me, just all parts of it, and it was no longer serving me, and I felt like it was no longer really a part of my purpose. Uh, Hi, I'm Swastika. It's on me. It's okay. Even though it was really draining me, and it no longer aligned with how I wanted to live my life. It no longer aligned with any of that. I still felt like it was the right thing to do to stay, because I'm a flight attendant. I'm a Delta flight attendant. Like how do you quit this kind of job? Like, you get to travel all the time. I love travel. Y'all know I absolutely love traveling. That's one of the reasons why I became a flight attendant, right? I'm like, why would I quit this job? But it made sense. It all made sense, and God confirmed it as well. Like, so for one, I thought about quitting my job a whole year before I actually quit, right? It was on my heart for an entire year. I was over the anxiety. I was over not really being able to be present at home. I had gotten married 2 years or a year prior to. Additionally, I was tired of like missing out on stuff. Like, when you're a flight attendant, you miss out on a lot of things. And after a while, people kind of just stop like inviting me to stuff because I could never really go. Not only that, like, it was just a lot to it. And like I said, I won't get too much into it, but it was my season was coming to an end. Let's just put it that way. My season was coming to an end. And for an entire year, I knew this. And so officially, like 6 months before I quit, you guys, my business also started to just explode, right? And so that year when I quit, about 6 months prior, from like, I think June to December. No, so I quit my job. Is he still asleep? Is he still asleep? Yeah. That's me asking my husband if baby boy is still sleeping, because I like to do my videos when he's sleeping, so that, yeah, when he's up, I can, be fully present and engaged with him. So I quit my job in September 2022, but between June and December of that same year, you guys, my business made 6 figures. Okay, that was my revenue. And that's way more than I make flying all the time, like being on the road flying, being exhausted, and all of these things. So tired sometimes that I just have no energy to do anything else. And I was able to make this type of money. Some of the income was passive, some of it semi-passive, some of it was active work, consulting, some of it was from YouTube, some of it was from selling like digital products online, stuff like that. Some of it was from short-term rental, doing Airbnb, that business. And God just showed me that I can take care of you. You don't need this job to thrive. You don't need this job to make an income. And fortunately, also, I was using the Air Force or the military healthcare, so I didn't have that to worry about. Sometimes healthcare is like a big part of the reason why a lot of people stick around to a job, because they feel like, they need it. And I get it. Unfortunately, how the US has built its system is that it's not really meant for entrepreneurs to have healthcare. It's almost like if you don't have a job, you're screwed when it comes to healthcare. If you don't serve in the military, you're screwed when it comes to the cost of healthcare. Like, it blew my mind when I heard people say that they pay like $1,500 or $1,600 a month for healthcare, just because you have a family, maybe a spouse, and maybe it's one child, or maybe a couple kids. And even just for an individual, I'm hearing that healthcare is like $600. Like, why should healthcare be? Ooh, food. I'm doing a video. You know that, right?
Eat.
Want me to eat while I'm doing my video?
Yeah, I gotta start throwing stuff away. So.
Okay, thank you, husband. It's so unfortunate how much healthcare costs in the United States, and that's one of the reasons why I left. Okay, I did say I was gonna go to that. See, that's why I have my notes and I still haven't even gotten to my notes yet. But just bear with me, you guys. This is me sharing, okay? And this is not going to be, I don't share so much all the time. So take it as it is. Right. I'll get to my notes in a second of why I love living in Bali. I'll get to that in a second. I don't plan on serving in the military forever, or I didn't plan on serving in the military forever. So eventually I would have been affected by the cost of health insurance. Okay. It was nice serving. My health insurance cost was only about $250 something for my family. It doesn't matter how many children I eventually had, the price is still the same for a family. So that's not bad. It was okay. Like I said, I didn't plan on staying forever. I would have been resigning when my contract was coming to an end next March. So I'm technically only like resigning early, like 6 months or so early. So, but yeah, it's very unfortunate how costly health insurance is when you in the United States. When you compare other countries have like this system built, like public health insurance, stuff like that, that costs a very small amount, whether or not you work, whether or not you have a job. That should be a thing. Like, America capitalizes on everything. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. Like, and it's so ridiculous how health insurance is basically like a scam, you guys. Health insurance in the United States of America is such a scam because you pay so much for insurance. Then, you have your copay and deductible and all that stuff, and then your medication and all of that is so expensive anyway, and then they still don't cover everything. Sometimes you go to get stuff done and they're like, oh, but we don't cover that. In Thailand, let me just jump right into it then. Let me just jump right into healthcare since we're on healthcare. Why I love living in Bali. Overall Southeast Asia, because I may intertwine some of these things. So for example, Thailand, you guys, healthcare is so affordable. Like in Thailand, first of all, we got international health insurance. International health insurance is also covers some travel stuff. By the way, I'm using Safety Wing right now. This video is not sponsored by them, but I love Safety Wing, you guys. Let me tell you about my experience with using Safety Wing. Okay, the first week of having Safety Wing. By the way, I have a link in my description below. Sign up. Okay, if you plan on traveling long term, short term, get you some international travel insurance. Okay, travel and medical insurance, and I use Safety Wing. Let me tell you about an experience that I had while being here in Bali. So I signed up for international travel insurance about a week after I got here, something like that. And that's another thing. You can get your insurance after you've traveled, while you're on the plane, while you're in the airport. You can do it after. So fortunately, I got the insurance, right? The next day, tell me why I had like Bali belly. So that's another thing. But anyway, I had Bali belly, which is so unfortunate. And so I contacted this house call IV medical company. Shout out to Miracle Medical Care, okay, in the Canggu area. That's where I was staying at the time. They offer hangover IV services, Bali belly IV services, dengue fever, different types of fever IV services. And what they do is they infuse like certain probiotics and like vitamins and all that in it. And you guys, I was religiously taking probiotics. I always take probiotics. I always wash my hands before I eat, all that kind of stuff. And anyway, I still ended up with Bali belly. It was horrible. And so I did a house call, and that cost about 120 something US dollars. They had a nurse come out. And another thing is, I was actually talking directly to the doctor via WhatsApp. Okay. I scheduled my appointment via WhatsApp. Within an hour, they had a nurse come out. Okay. And she did her thing and went over like the activated charcoal stuff and probiotic stuff and other little stuff that she gave me, and went over the drops, and the service was top notch. Okay. For 100 and something US dollars. In America, I don't know if there's such a service. And even if there is such a service, I'm sure that would cost an arm and a leg. Another thing is, I signed up for the safety insurance just the day before. This happened the day after. And I think the day after that, I submitted a claim. I submitted the claim, and in 2 days, they approved my claim and fully reimbursed me. I got reimbursed 100% for that claim. Another thing is we had to take over. Well, right after that, 3 days after that, my son seemed like he had some bacteria thing going on too. I think his system is also, getting used to the bacteria here or something. And so his stomach was running a lot and he was vomiting a little bit, stuff like that. It was, as first time parents, you get so worried, even if it may not be major, right? Even if it's minor, you get so worried as first time parents. And so we rushed him to the emergency room at a hospital. You guys, the place didn't even really feel like a hospital. It was so nice. It seemed like it was attached to like this mini mall as well. And as soon as we walked in, we were a little bit confused because it seemed like it said emergency room here, but we weren't sure like where to check in and stuff like that. And we walked in, was kind of looking around, and a nurse saw us and he noticed that we looked a little bit confused. And so he walked over to us immediately. He's like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "My baby, we don't know if he's okay." And the nurse immediately started doing like his wellness checkup, checking for fever, all of these things without us even checking in. That was not the first priority for us to check in. Let me tell you about an experience in the US when we had to take our son to the emergency room as well. Again, first time parents, everything is like a big deal. And so we rushed our son to the emergency room when we were in Dallas. And you guys, I can't tell you how horrible that experience was. I'm going to finish telling you about this experience in Bali. Bear with me, you guys. Sometimes I can be a little bit all over the place, but just bear with me. The hospital in Dallas that we went to, oh my gosh, we walked in. Okay, we had to check in, right? Why do I have my food here still? Sorry, y'all. I totally forgot that my husband brought food. I don't know why he brought food. He seen me making a video. Anyway, so we walked in. Okay, we had to check in. Cool, that's fine. The lady asked me all these questions, address, name, health insurance, what's my health insurance information, blah, 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 blah. We had to do all of that. Okay, fine. We checked in. Then we sat down for a little bit. Then another lady called us over. We went over to her. She basically asked me the same questions that the other lady asked me. I was like, why is this happening? So anyway, she asked me the same questions and she was like, okay, what's happening? And she seemed a little bit annoyed too. I'm not going to lie. Like I was a little bit, kind of flustered because, I wasn't sure what was wrong with my baby. He was crying a lot and he's never really cried like that before. And he seemed like he was like straining or something. And so I was explaining everything to her and she was like, okay. And, she seemed a little bit annoyed, honestly. Anyway, so we sat back down and then they called us back up again to finally do his like checks, heart rate, if he has any fever, anything like that. They did that. Okay, cool. We sat down. Then we waited. I don't even know. I don't remember for how long. Then they call us in the back. I'm like, finally, we're going to see a doctor now. Somebody, I guess they asked us the same questions. Guys, the same questions. And now this is the fourth time we're seeing somebody before even seeing the doctor. And I was like, what is going on? At this point, I was a little bit annoyed, right? So they asked us the same questions, checked him, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, I'm losing count. I'm losing count of how many people. It was that ridiculous. Okay? And then somebody else came over to ask for my ID. Was asking me more questions, and I'm just like, I just told the other person that just. And anyway, long story short, after about maybe 5 or 6 people, asking me the same questions, then I finally was able to see the doctor and stuff. It was just ridiculous. So that was my experience in Dallas. In Bali, we literally walked in, the nurse checked us immediately, and then he was like, okay, you can see the pediatrician upstairs, just check in upstairs and you can see the pediatrician. I checked in upstairs and it didn't have a hotel feel. It had a more like executive suites kind of feel, right? And so I checked in upstairs. The girl was super nice. The lady was super nice. She just asked me basic information like my name, email address, and phone number, something like that. Asked me if I had insurance that I'm using to pay for the service or I'm self-paying and then, getting it reimbursed or whichever. So I told her I'm just self-paying. And that's the thing that I actually like. They kind of tell you right up front what it's going to cost. Like in the US, sometimes they act like they don't know what it's going to cost. Oh, we don't know. We don't know. It depends on this. It depends on when we submit it to this. It just should be one, right? So that's what I like with over here, Thailand, Indonesia, Bali. That's the standard. It's like the service costs what it costs, right? It doesn't really matter, health insurance or whatever. And so we paid out of pocket for that. We didn't know that we could have actually called our insurance company, let them know. But, in an emergency situation, you don't really have time for that. And so with seeing the pediatrician and drops that we got on the spot, because there was literally an actual pharmacy just down the hall. So we didn't even have to go to another location to wait to pick up or the drops for baby boy or anything like that. We were able to get it right on the spot. It was literally ready just like this after we saw the pediatrician. And I checked in with her, and within 30 minutes or so, maybe 30, 40 minutes, we were able to see the pediatrician. Everything came out to be $73. That included the consultation with the pediatrician, him checking baby boy, making sure that everything is fine. Everything was pretty much fine. He just, the bacteria and stuff like that. And we got drops for that and everything. That came out to $73. I filed a claim the same day. Okay, submitted my medical report to safety wing, and in 2 days, you guys, in about 2 days or less, it got approved and the money was on our way. Okay, so I had 2 claims in like a week that was approved just like this. That's the healthcare system over here. Okay, so it's just so much better, in my opinion, than how things work in the US. Also in like Thailand, you don't have to wait to see a specialist. Like in the US, it's like, oh, you got to be referred and you have to wait. We don't have an availability until 2 weeks time, until a month time. And I need to get this blood work done now. I need to know if I'm okay now. And what's so disheartening too is that there's some health insurance companies that they will literally say, no, this has to be a dire need. Like you have to feel like you're dying before we can approve this type of blood work. That should not be a thing. In Thailand, you want to see a specialist, a heart specialist, a spine specialist, a brain doctor, whosoever, there's a specialist there. Okay. And these hospitals are so like prestigious looking, very clean, very like top notch. Okay, I'm not talking about rundown, I'm talking about top notch. It's like a better quality even than the US. So even though it costs significantly less, that's why there's such a thing as medical tourism, right? People going to different countries to get stuff done, Mexico, Thailand, wherever, because it's it's way more affordable, right? And so even though it costs way less, you're not sacrificing the quality. So that's another thing that I love, okay? And people need to realize. And so in Thailand, you can see a specialist on the spot. That's how it should be. So I don't know what the United States need to, I guess, fix their healthcare system, really. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I love living in Bali, love living this part of the world, is because of healthcare. And another thing is too, you guys, the price that I pay for safety wing for my husband and I and baby boy is a fraction of what it costs for even my military health insurance. Okay, so go figure. Not to mention if I had, I guess, the marketplace health insurance, that would have been ridiculous, right? My safety wing health insurance that covers all 3 of us is a fraction of my military health insurance. So go figure. And I have a way better experience with this health insurance. Again, the link is below. Go check it out. Okay, this video is not sponsored by them. Maybe in the future though. Okay, so another reason why I love living in Bali is the peace and people. Let me tell you, Bali has some of the nicest people here. The people are so nice, caring, kind, like just genuine people. And of course, everywhere you go, you're going to have your bad apples, right? You're going to have people who are just like, but for the most part, our experience in Bali, this is not my first time in Bali, by the way. First time I came to Bali was right after I quit my job in 2022, September, right? We came to Bali for about a month. It was amazing. Like, it felt like home. I was like, I have to come back here. Like, I knew I had to come back here. The people are so kind. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much money they make, they're just chill. They're just some of the kindest people that you'll meet. And I love how peaceful the land is. It's just so peaceful. Like when you're in Bali, you feel like you shouldn't be working. You know, it's you have to really be disciplined, especially if you are operating or if you work in like the Eastern or Central or Pacific time zone, you know, United States time zone or the Western world time zone, and you're not really working during the day. You just, all you want to do is just enjoy the day, you know, because people here in Bali, even the people who work, they're just chill. Like they don't seem bothered. Some people literally take naps on the job. Like that's how chill it is. So that's another reason why I love living in Bali. Again, even though I plan to move to Bangkok soon, but we'll be back and forth, Bangkok and like Bali. Affordability, you guys, affordability, living and food, not to mention experiences. In Bali, you can get better experiences here in Bali than in the US. Let me tell you right now. Like the other day we went to we've been to so many places and all of that, but in general, like you can enjoy a nice floating breakfast. You can enjoy a nice day club. My husband and I love going to day clubs. Love day clubs. Not like partying, but like beach clubs where there's like pools or saunas and food, and it's probably on the beach. You just get to relax and chill and all that stuff. We love the Bali day clubs here, and you can enjoy that for goodness. Like it depends on you, depends on, you know, what you're having and all of that. But you can have a really nice meal for less than $10. For less than 10 US dollars at a really nice day club. Overall, outside of day clubs locally, you can have a nice meal for $2 US, $3 US. It really depends. It's so incredible. Whenever my husband and I order on Grab, we always end up ordering like two things each, like two meals each. Cause I'm just like, you know, instead of like having to choose between one or the other, we get to choose both because it's so affordable. And a lot of times, by the time we apply all the coupons that Grab have to offer, it's usually like $9 US for 4 meals. You guys, in the US, when you order on Uber Eats or like DoorDash, $9 is just the taxes and the fees. By the time you tip, taxes, fees, is $9. Okay. Here in Bali, you can get 4 meals for $9 on Grab. Again, it depends. It's subject to, you know, that's subject to where you're eating at. But for the most part, you guys, you can get a high quality, really good meal for $7 US or less in Bali. So I love the affordability. Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm all about living way below my means, especially now while I'm young, but still having a high quality of life. And that's what you get in this part of the world. Okay. Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Laos, you know, that part of the world, this part of the world, you get to live a better quality of life on less. But of course, that also subject to your income, where you're from, what currency you're earning in. So yes, again, I will agree that when you're earning in like the US currency or European or euros or Australian pounds, Canadian, yes, that those currencies go further in this part of the world. Okay. And for as long as I have the opportunity to do that, I will, you know, why not? So yeah, all in all, I love the affordability and I love that I have a better quality for less. Like, why would I not want that? I don't understand why people are so like concerned or shocked that I would leave the US. You know, I have not renounced my US citizenship. And if you are new here, I was born and raised in Jamaica. Okay, I was not born in the US. I was born and raised in Jamaica. But instead of choosing to go back to Jamaica, I chose to move to Southeast Asia because I felt like it is the place that is right for my family. I'll probably share a little bit more on that later. Yeah, I'll share more on that later because I'm sure people are probably like, okay, why not go back to Jamaica? We'll share more on that later. Okay, so we touched on healthcare, we touched on the affordability, food, all of that. We touched on the people, peace, self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency, you guys, in Southeast Asia. Like literally there's a mango underneath this chair because I guess it fell from the tree. If anything were to happen, and if you know, you know, if you know, you know, okay? If we were to have another shutdown, you know, anything like that, God forbid, but you know, the land is so self-sufficient. It's easy to just grow your own food, or if you didn't grow your own food, if you just walk on the street and there's probably going to be like some fresh fruit on the, you know, on the roadside or something like that. And I love that about this part of the world. Like there are local markets, fruit markets, food markets. You don't have to go into a grocery store. In the US, it's so reliant upon cars and grocery stores and all of that. It's like if you don't have that, you're screwed, right? If there's no gas, you can't fill up your gas. There's no grocery stores, you're screwed. Like in this part of the world, there are like local farms. People grow their own food. They set up their own shop, little independent stores and shops and all that kind of stuff. And you can just go buy from them. I like that type of living, honestly, because like I said before, if anything were to happen, you have local food that you can rely on. In America, is just so America doesn't really have that self-sufficiency unless, you know, you have your own farm or you grow your own food, which a lot of people have been doing that, which is really good. But yeah, if you don't plan to leave the US anytime soon, if I were you, I would try to find a way to grow my own food. That's something that I'm planning on doing as well while I'm living in this part of the world, growing my own food, stuff like that. But yeah, so I know this video is getting really long. I'm trying to finish up. But yeah, we talked about the peace, the people, the affordability, healthcare, self-sufficiency, and also less random acts of violence. Y'all, it's so sad how like in the US just 2 weeks ago or last week, there was literally two school shootings. Two schools in a week. Why are we still having school? I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but why are we still having school pewing, right? Why are we still having that? It's so sad. It's either the mental health of these children. America will do that to you though. But it's just so sad. Like children are not safe anymore. You drop your children off at school and it's just by chance, right? It's like by the luck of the draw. Just really sad. Parents don't have any true peace anymore sending their children to school. And that should not be a thing. That should never be a thing. And not just schools, but malls. Like you guys, I live in or used to live in Texas, right? Like Dallas area, more north Dallas area right before we left. And there was this area, I think it was like Allen. It was like one of the safe areas in like the Dallas area, very safe. And y'all, there was let me just say, there was a pewing event in a mall. And whenever I go to the mall, I don't really go to the malls that much, but whenever I go, y'all, I'm looking like I'm so aware. Like if anything looks suspicious to me, and I don't like that. I don't like just being, yes, it's good to be aware of your environment, but it's on another level when I'm in malls or public spaces. And in the United States, I don't That's one of the reasons why I also don't like going to like public spaces like events, concerts, stuff like that, because just any random thing can happen. I don't like being in large crowds, anything like that. But it's just so sad that when I'm at the mall, I'm with my baby boy, my family, I'm so concerned. Like I'm looking around because anything can happen. I'm not saying that that will never happen here, but it's just not a thing. It's just unheard of. And if it does happen here, it will be one of the maybe the first, or it's less likely to, and even the malls here, like a very popular mall here in Bali, everybody that enters the mall, they check you, they check your bags, they're checking you. So that gives me a little bit of peace of mind as well. And, people just aren't about that here, really. So yeah, the random acts of violence, and especially if you look like me, I mean, I don't even have to touch on that topic too much. Like you already know, it's so unfortunate. But I will take the quality of life that I have here over the quality of life that I had in the US. In the US, I just felt stuck all the time. I don't know. When I'm here, I feel creative. I feel more peaceful, less anxious. Yeah, life is great here. I don't know. I can't promise if I'm ever going back to the US or when I'm going back to the US. I can't promise that. Who's calling me? Oh goodness. Good morning. How are you? I'm stressed yes too. Yeah, you guys, I'm getting ready to wrap this video up because I know I've been going on for a while now, but I just really wanted to share everything that's been on my heart. So I shared with you why I left the US. I think I shared a lot of that, the economy, the decline of it anyway, and the anxiety that I feel, the safety aspect of it, just all of that combined. So I shared with you my journey to leaving, to moving over here, why I left the US, and why I absolutely love living in Southeast Asia, particularly Bali right now. In another video, I'll share with you some of the cons of living over here, in Bali. And I'll definitely be sharing with you guys a lot more videos on living in Southeast Asia. I'll be sharing more of my journey with you all. And if this is the type of content that you like to see, if this resonates with you, if this inspires you, be sure to hit that subscription button and the notification bell as well. That way, whenever I share a new video, whenever I go live, anything like that, you will be the first to know. Again, it's 𝐒𝐫𝐚𝐻. It was an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you guys later. Be blessed. Bye.